Okay, so in this example, what we want to do is put together a worksheet where we're keeping track of monthly and quarterly totals for a number of different top companies. And we want to be able to put this out there and be able to have some sales totals as far as expenses as well, and also the figuring out the profit. So we're going to do a few calculations on this one as well. So without further ado, what we'll start out first of all with the company name. So what we'll do here is I'm just going to start down here at A2. All right, I'm going to type in the first one. This is going to be Lex Corp Trading. All right. Now the next one's going to be Tyrell Corporation. All right, and then with the magic of video, put the rest of the companies in there. So there we go. Okay, so now along the top here, we're going to have the monthly numbers. All right, so the monthly headings. So we're going to start out with January, so do JAN, right? Enter that in, and then we'll go back and we will copy that, as we've done before, all the way out to December. There we go. Okay, so what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to make column A a little bit wider, to kind of accommodate this. And I'm just going to do a double click on that, and that'll get that width out there. And I'm also going to go ahead and insert, I'm just going to do a right click here, and insert a row or a column in there, and then I'll pull that back, just to give it kind of some little margin there. Now, because of all that was going on before, I ended up putting the first month in the wrong column. I really meant to put this back over here. Now, I've already basically typed all this in. How do I get it to pull back? Well, there's a few different ways you can do it. One way would be to select the range like this, and then just point anywhere on any of the sides here. I'm just going to do the bottom here, and you'll see like we get a little crosshair. When I hold down the mouse and just kind of drag it to the left, it kind of takes that whole chunk, see, and lets me move it back like that. So that's one way you can do it. Now I'm going to hit undo, and I'm going to show you another way you can do it. The other way would be just to go to this cell right here, do a right click on it, and this, I'll tell you, this is maybe a better way I'm about to show you here, because if you had like a really, really long one of these things, you'd have to select and select and select all the way across. Whereas what I'm going to do here is we're just going to delete this cell. So I do a right click on it, I hit delete, and then I tell it that I want to shift the cells to the left as it deletes. So shift cells left, hit OK, and that pulls it back too. So either way will work. They both are just as good as the other. Now that we've got our labels in here, we can actually start plugging in some numbers. So wherever we would have the numbers maybe written on a sheet, maybe they're in a report, we would take each of those numbers and put them into the corresponding slots. So in this case, we go over here to C2, and that's where we're going to be putting in LexCorp's January number, right? And that happens to be 10,000. All right, next one's going to be 42,358. Next one is 60,866. 79,374, 33,000, 23,430, and 15,000. There we go. Now we have the rest of the months there. So with the magic of video, and now they're all plugged in there. Pretty fast typing, huh? Okay, so now the next thing I'm thinking about is I'd like to maybe, after each 3 months or after each quarter, total up the numbers. In other words, total up these three numbers, these three in a quarterly type total, then add up these three and have that in a quarterly total, and so forth. So we're going to go ahead and insert some new columns in here to make that happen. So I want to put a quarterly total for the first quarter here. So I'm going to do a right click on F, insert. That does that one for me. I'll just do these ahead of time, and I'll do a right click on this one, insert it, a right click on this one and insert it, and then the last one will be there already. So now I'll go back to here and I'll type in maybe QTR-1, and then I'll put in the total. Now for the total, all we'll have to do is just kind of select this range like that, go back into home, and then hit our auto sum, and that will add up all of those numbers. And we can do the same thing for quarter two. So we'll type in quarter two, all right, and then we'll go ahead and select that range, hit the auto sum, go to the next one. We're going to do quarter three, enter that in, then we'll go ahead and select that range and add up that. There we go. And it's kind of interesting when we do this that it automatically just does those three and it doesn't include anything else. And the reason for that is once in a while it's smart and it realizes that we're over here putting in a total and it goes as far back as here, and if it goes any further, it says, oh, this is another formula. I think that is something that they probably don't want to include, and that's true, and that's why that comes out that way. Don't always expect that. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you got to redo the formula to include just those three. All right, now for the last one we're going to put in here, this is going to be the, so we'll put in there quarter four, enter that in, and once again we'll select that range, hit the auto sum, and there we go. Now last but not least, I'm going to go over here now, and this is going to be our YTD total, we'll call it. So we'll just do a year to date, or YTD total, all right? And we can go in there, we're going to put the total in. Now, here's another way of doing the total. Normally I would just say that we're going to put just a normal formula in that would add up each of the quarterly numbers. What we can do instead is go to this cell, go ahead and click on the auto sum. Now auto sum, look what it does here. It actually picks up on those four quarterly totals. Look at that. Pretty tricky, huh? So that's what we want to do. Hit that enter key, and we can take that and we can copy it down. There we go. That's pretty good. Now, I'll tell you something else. We could try, just to see if this works, we could try just selecting this, get rid of it, and just select it again, like we have here. Go ahead and hit that auto sum and see if it does the same thing. And I think it does. I mean, because if I go to this first one here, and I look at what it has here, it says R2, N2, J2, and F2. So we got R2, that looks good. N2, yep, and so forth. So it actually did it by selecting all the cells and just hitting it. So it did it either with one cell and then copying it down, or do all the cells and hit it, and it does it for you automatically. So that takes care of that part. Again, don't expect that always to work. All right, so you just have to watch it, that's all. All right, so now we're going to put the totals in for each of the columns. So we're going to go back to the beginning here, and I want to put the totals here. So I'm going to put on the label here, I'm just going to type in total sales, all right? And I'll put a little colon after it too. That's kind of nice sometimes. And then what we'll do is we'll select that whole range, just like that. Go back up to our auto sum, and boom, it takes care of all of it just like that. Pretty good. Now we'll go underneath it. Now this is going to be our expenses. And this could also be thought of as being kind of like the cost of goods, all right? So what's happened is that we know in January for all these sales that the actual expenses of having to purchase the product in order to make those sales, we actually have that on hand as well. And that'll be great because we can put that into into the worksheet and be able to not only see our total sales, not only see what the expenses were, cost of goods, but then we could also figure out what the profit is. So that just makes more information that we can get from the worksheet than what we had or thought of originally. All right, but let's first of all do this. So the expenses for January, February, March, and so forth, I'm going to plug in those numbers. So the first thing here, we're going to put in 200,000 for the first one. Now, through the magic of video, all of our cost of goods are typed in. So we didn't do a calculation on that. We just typed in the numbers that we had for the cost of goods that were incurred for purchasing the product that we sold each of these companies in order to get what you see here. Okay, so all right, so for this first one here, for the total of it, we'll just click onto that. We can hit the auto sum. There it goes. Enter. Go to this one here. Hit the auto sum. That looks good. Enter. And then we do the same thing for quarter 3. And we'll scroll over for quarter 4. Same deal there. And then, of course, when we go to here, hopefully, what will happen is when we hit the auto sum, look what happens. It didn't work that time. So what we're going to do with the auto sum in this case is, while it's still active there, we're going to click on to the first quarterly total, this one right here, hold down the control key, and then we'll click on to quarter 2, and then also quarter 3, all right, and scroll over to quarter 4. So we're summing up those 4 cells basically, right? Hit the enter key, and there we go. Now you're going to see once in a while, when you start doing a lot of different calculations, you're going to see these little green wedges popping up here. And what they're basically saying, well, in this case, I'll do the first one here. I'll click onto it and click over here. It tells me it's an inconsistent formula. And what it's basically saying is the formula there might be different from other nearby formulas. And it might think, well, maybe you made a typo or something like that. And well, that's not the case. It's actually just fine. So if you wanted to kind of turn off that green indicator, all we have to do is select the first one, the first cell, and just go all the way across to as far as those go. So as far as it goes about right here, right? And then we can click on that little smart tag there, and then we'll click on to ignore error, right? And then they all go away. It's nothing wrong with keeping them there. They'll just bug you looking at them all the time. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a little bit so I can see more of my worksheet here. So something like that. Might be a little too far there, but something like that will be good. All right. So now what I want to do with this is I've got one more calculation to do, and that's going to be the profit. I mean, if I've got my revenue and I have my expenses, I take the expenses from the revenue and I end up with my gross margin or my profit. So I'm going to go on this cell here. I'm going to type in profit, again with a colon after it, hit the enter key. And now, very simple subtraction situation here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the equal, all right? So anytime that you do a formula, start with an equal, very simple. I'm going to take this cell right there, which is C9, minus, in this case now, C10. There we go. Enter that in, there we go. And then I can take that formula and I can copy that all the way across to the very end. There we go. So we can actually see that at the end of the year, in essence, we've done a little over $370,000 in profit. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert a couple new rows up at the top here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select rows 1 and 2, just like that. And then I'm going to do a right click anywhere in that selected area, hit insert, and that'll pull everything down. Now in the first row up here, I want to put my title for the worksheet. And this is going to be Maui Surf Class Sales. And it's going to be for the year 2020. All right, enter that in. And now the other thing I want to do is I'm thinking that maybe I would like to have this just say total and then have a heading over each of the 3 months with the actual name Q1 or Q2 or Q3. So what I'll do is I'm going to salvage what I have here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Q1 here, get my little crosshair on it, hold down the mouse, and I can actually drag that to there. See? And then what I can do is I can select, or click back to here, I should say, and go ahead and type in the word total. And then I can actually, if I want to just do it right now, I'll just select those 4 cells, hit the merge and center, and now that's a nice little title over that section. Now I'm going to do the same thing for Q2. I'll take that, I'll drag it over to there. All right, I'll go ahead and I'll take those 4 cells, and then go ahead and merge it, and then go to here and type just the word total in for that one. Take the 3rd quarter, drag that over to there, select those 4 cells, merge it, and then put total in there. And then for the last one, we'll go ahead and we'll bring the Q4, bring that to there, select that range, right? Merge and center, that's perfect. And then go over here and type in the word total. There we go. Now all we really have to do is go back and finish our format. So I'm going to start out with my title at the top here. So I'm going to go from B1 here and drag that all the way over here to the last column, all right? And then I can go ahead and hit the merge and center. That merges all the cells. Then I can go ahead and maybe make that maybe a little bit bigger. Make it bold. Looks good there. I can take this column or this row here, make that just a little bit bigger, and make it bold. All right. Not too bad. And then for the next row here, which are the months and so forth, I can select that and I can get those centered. All right, so I'll center that up there, make them bold. There we go. Now let's look at the numbers. At minimum, whenever you have numbers like this, you want to have at least the comma format in them. I'm not a big fan on putting the dollar symbol in everywhere. It just gets a little too distracting. But at least with the comma format, that'll help, to be able to read the numbers. So we'll go back and get that area selected, go back up to the top here, and this is in the Home tab. Go over here to the comma, style, and then we're going to tell it that we want no decimal places. Because right now we've got the 0.00, we don't want that. So we can just point to here, click it a couple times, and that fixes that right up. Let's now select the whole thing here, just like that, and we're going to make the columns all exactly the width that they need to be. Right now, most of them are way wider than what they should be. So I get the whole thing selected, point to any one of the borders, double click it, and it brings it all in like that. So that saves quite a bit of space. All right, now we're also going to go ahead and do some shading here. So I'm going to click onto the title row at the top there, go to our little paint bucket that's also in the Home tab here, and I can kind of hover over and kind of figure out what I want it to look like, maybe something like that. And then for the second row here, and I think what I'll do is I'll color the whole row here, even though everything pretty much starts like over here. I'll just still go over and just do it all the way across, kind of keep it even. And again, find another color that you want to go with. Maybe I'll go with the blue. And then the same thing for our labels. Go ahead and select that range there. Oh, we didn't go far enough with that one either, so let's do this first. Click that, and we'll make that blue. All right, and I'll just select from the right and work to the left now. So do that, and come up with another color, maybe the green. That looks good. Now let's look at some of the borders. I think at the top here, we'll click on that once again. I'll go into my little drop down. I'm going to go with the thick bottom border. I think I'll go to the second one here. And this one can also be the thick bottom border. We'll just hit this one right here. And the third one as well. Now in this one, I think what we'll do is we'll go all the way across, and we won't do the thick bottom border. We'll just do a standard thickness. So just do the bottom border here. And there we go. Now for the bottom part here, we can actually select this range here and do a top and bottom border. So it'll be right there. And that's how that looks. And then I can go ahead and I can do a, this one here. So I'm skipping that one there, just doing this bottom one here. I'll do the bottom one with the top and bottom, and that will give me a border as well on the other one. And then maybe some vertical borders as well, so I can actually maybe select from here and work my way down to there. And I can, on that one, put a left border, all right, and put a right border, see? And what that does is that. Not bad. And then I can select this range. And on this one, I just need to put a right border on, because I've already got the left border from the right border on the other one, all right? So then we go over here, select that one, do a right border as well. And then for the last quarter here, right border as well. And I think we'll leave that one open, so that'll look okay. Now that would be pretty much it as far as putting our worksheet together. It's very informative. I'll zoom out here just a little bit more so you can see it. There it is. Very straightforward. We can read it. We can tell we got quarter 1 through quarter 4. We can see what our numbers are, our totals, and so forth. But as I have shown you in some of the other worksheets that we've put together, we've also added charting, adding a graph to this. And I think this is really not any different. I think this is a great set of numbers to kind of focus in on certain areas of them with using a picture or a graph of these numbers, right? So I'd like to start out, first of all, is create a graph that takes all of our months, quarters, and so forth, including the totals, and grabs all three of these. So we're basically going to take this and this. We're going to graph that stuff, right? Now, a very easy way to do this, all we have to do is select from B1 down and then all the way across like this, all right? Just to the quarters, right? Then hold down the Control key, and then we select this range here all the way over to that same width, see? So I want to make sure those two match, all right? Then once we've done that, all right, then what we're going to do is click on the Insert, go over to our column and bar graphs here, and we're just going to go with a two-dimensional graph, or just what we call a cluster. Click onto that. That looks good. And then we can take this graph from here, drag it down to about right there, and we can go ahead and make it about halfway across, something like that. Maybe bring it down a little bit, and there we go. Now what we can do with this is we'll click onto the title here, all right? Click onto the formula bar, hit equal, and then click on to our title, all right? Hit the Enter key, and that'll put the title up there for us. Then we can go to Home, make that a little bit bigger, make it bold, something like that. Now, as far as the legend here goes, we're going to put that at the top. So what we do is we click back on the graph, we go to the elements, we go down to where we have the grid or the legend here, click onto that little arrow until we want that at the top. Now we can then click back onto that, go back to home, make it a little bit bigger, maybe even make it bold, all right, make it kind of stand out. There we go so far. Now another thing we can do, we can make the profit stand out a little bit better than what you see here with the gray bar by clicking on any one of the bar, or I'm sorry, clicking anywhere in the graph here, okay? Going up into your menu, and we're going to go into the design and tell it that we want to change the chart type, see? And, oh, don't want to do the change chart. I want to click on to, we'll just click on any one of the bars here. Sorry about that. So you click on any one of the bars, all right? Go to change chart type, and this window will pop up. This allows us to focus in on specific bars or series, and then change the type of graphic that you use to graph. And what we want to do is we want to change profit from being this cluster column into being just a line graph, something like that, all right? And we're also going to make it we're going to kind of accentuate it a little bit by putting it on its own secondary axis, see? Let's do something like that. So it's either going to kind of look like that or look like that. Depends. Either way is good. So we'll do it with its own axis. And by doing that, we hit OK. It then uses this axis for these numbers, and it uses this axis for the bar numbers, right? So once I've done that, I can go ahead and maybe click over here, go back to home, make it bold, make it a little bit bigger, like that. Click onto here, make it bold, make it just as big, all right? Go down to here on what we call the x-axis, right? And make that bolded and make that a little bit bigger as well. There we go. Now we can also kind of fill in this empty area here by double clicking any one of the bars and going over here to where it says gap width. That's the amount of space or the gap, right? We want to reduce that gap, so I kind of bring it back like this, and as you do it, it makes those bars wider, see? That looks pretty good. And we can just close that up, and that's it. All right, now one more graph that we're going to do is we're going to take what we have over here as far as our different companies, right? Select that, and then we'll do a control key, and we'll select these guys over here, right? We'll go back into insert, go back to our 3D, or I should say two-dimensional column. We'll take that and we'll bring it down over here, bring it about right there, make it a little bit wider. There we go. Now, we can double click it, just like that, make the gap much less, so it's going to be a much thicker looking bar there, right? And then we can also then go to the paint bucket over here, go to fill, and tell it we want to do a vary colors by point, close that up, and then we've got something like that. And again, I can click on the title, click up here, hit equal, click on the title, hit enter, go to home, make it bigger, make it bold. Now there's no legend that we have to worry about here, but what we can do is go to here, make it bold, make it a little bit bigger, and then we can go down to here, make it bold, and make it bigger. Now if we make it too big, I shouldn't say too big, but if we make it big enough, we can get where it kind of wraps the names there. So if you want to be able to see that a little bit bigger, you can do that. Otherwise, you can actually just bring it back down in size and do whatever you want to do, or just bring it up just enough to where it keeps them all in the same line there. All right, very good. So that's about it. I can also go back and make this just a little bit taller there. There we go. That way it's all nice and matching. So now you got a nice little worksheet, very telling of information, and we've got pictures of various parts of it, so it makes it easy to see, in this case, who our best company was, worst company, that type of thing. Same thing over here, we can see our profit, expenses, and so forth. So very telling stuff. I mean, we can obviously see that from the information up here, but those pictures really make a difference. So hopefully this helps you guys putting together your own worksheets. Good stuff to see here. So thanks for watching. Take care.